Have you ever thought about the way a bird moves about in the trees and shrubs? Well, each bird has its own unique way of doing that. Some birds, they fall like leaves, others drop like acorns, and others tumble like a branch. Do you know which way your birds move? I'm Kristi from Bird Mentor, where I help people connect more deeply with birds and nature. This is the Mindful Bird Sit. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video, and let's see what we can learn from the birds. Sometimes when I see certain birds, um, sorry, that's really loud. Sometimes when I see certain birds, they remind me of leaves falling, especially this time of year. It can get really tricky because it's fall, leaves are falling, and my warblers are in the trees, and I like so it gets makes a birder crazy, right? Because you're trying to look for a bird and you see a leaf falling, you're like, oh, bird, no, leaf. Oh, bird, no, it's a leaf. Oh, bird, no, it's a leaf, right? So it can be really helpful to get to know which birds like how birds move when they're in the trees and shrubs. And each bird has its own unique way of doing that. And so we're gonna practice that today and just sort of play around with how birds move in the trees and shrubs. Um, okay, great. So everyone, go ahead and find your comfy spot, get settled. And let's start with our eyes closed this morning, actually. So our big focus is going to be on what we're seeing. So just if you're inside, make sure you're in a position where you can see out the window. If you're outside, obviously, just have a nice view. So let's start with our eyes closed this morning. And we'll begin by listening first. So just listen to the environment around you. Becoming familiar with all the different friends and neighbors who share this space with us this morning. Nice. And go ahead and also send your awareness of, with your listening out beyond the immediate vicinity. So stretch your ears now just to listen. See who else you can hear off in the distance. Nice. And so, still with your eyes closed, if you feel good about that, I'd like you now to turn your attention inward. So, going within and just noticing the different sensations. We'll start first with our skin. So, the place where our body meets the environment around us. Noticing if you're feeling anything in particular on your skin this morning. Maybe it's a breeze, maybe it's the temperature. For me, it's a little sweat. Some people, it might be a chill. Can you actually feel the hairs on your arms standing up? Can you tell what direction the wind or the breeze, the air is coming from right now? Good work. And now we can go slowly inward. So first we'll start with our breath. Everyone begin with an exhale, pushing all the air out of your body, and then just allow the air to rush back in. Let it come freely back into your body, and then exhale again, completely pushing, pushing, pushing all the air out. And then just allow the air to flood naturally back in through your nose. Nice, beautiful, big, deep breath in. And then just allow your breath to fall back into its natural rhythm. But being mindful with each breath, noticing where the last little drop of breath is as it leaves your body. And then as it enters, where is it traveling throughout your body? What new places might you explore with your breath this morning? And just remembering with each inhale, especially with the storms that a lot of us experienced over the last week, the air got all sorts of churned up. And we are likely breathing in the same air that someone far, far, far away from us may have breathed in or exhaled not too long ago. Just knowing that we can connect with the rest of our friends around the world, around this country, just simply through our breath right now. And now sending your awareness down to the soles of your feet where they meet the earth. Can you feel that connection between your feet, your soles, and the earth? And just spend a moment here. Allow yourself to be present to that connection. Beautiful. And taking a nice breath in from the earth, moving all the way through your body, allowing every cell to be nourished by that breath all the way to the crown of your head, and then let it go. Take one more nice deep breath in. And this time when you exhale, you can slowly open your eyes and just let your eyes and your gaze be nice and soft. Gently looking around the environment, noticing what's moving, noticing what's still, seeing if there's any clouds in the sky, any mammals in the trees or on the ground, what kind of insects might be walking or flying by. And then we'll start with the lovely practice of owl eyes or softened vision. So find a point off in the distance to allow your gaze to focus on. Usually eye level is nice. You can go a little higher, a little lower, depending on what you have in front of you. And then once you've found your focal point, just allow your eyes, your vision, to soften, slowly going outward further and further and further, stretching your capacity to see on all sides. Good work. And so now we'll begin our practice with exploring the way that birds move. But first, what we're going to do is look for examples. So what I mean by that is I want you to begin by looking for a butterfly if you can, some kind of butterfly or moth that might be flying around right now. Is there anything like that in your area? Just spend a minute. We'll spend a minute or two just noticing. And then when you do find the butterfly, just watch how it moves. Watch how that butterfly floats on the air, flaps its wings, pauses. Just get to know and become familiar with the movements of the butterfly. And it's okay if you don't have a butterfly near you today. You can just allow your eyes to stay soft, and maybe there's something similar. Just keep inviting that possibility. Okay, good work. And now go ahead and look out on the landscape for any leaves that are falling. Just allow yourself to follow and watch the trees. And it's nice to stay in owl eyes because often owl eyes can key us in to when that happens. So you can move your eyes, your gaze around nice and slowly, but just stay in owl eyes and see if you can find a falling leaf. And when you do, watch it fall. Just notice how it moves. And for each one that you see, when it's a butterfly or the leaf, just see if you can find one word to describe that in your mind. Just the essence of its movement. Okay, and this next one, maybe not everyone will get a chance to see, but you can find something similar potentially in your area. This one's a little bit less predictable, and that would be an acorn. So see if you can look out on the landscape for something like an acorn falling from the trees, something with a little bit of weight to it, and just watch how it falls if you get a chance to see it. Remember, just stay in owl eyes, stay playful, and stay with the possibility that you might get to see it. This is a great opportunity because for some of us, it might be a little bit harder to find this one. And so you can allow any anxiety that might arise or that FOMO, like someone talked about recently, just to subside and just trust. You can just sit back and allow yourself just to get really relaxed in owl eyes and just know that you'll see what you need to see this morning. and the last one that we'll be looking for is something a bit heavier. So like a branch, you know, like when a squirrel chews off the end of a pine bough and there's some pine needles and the pine cones attached, something a little bit heavier, like a branch. We'll be looking for that right now. And in case it wasn't clear, that's a branch falling. So you're looking for something heavy falling from the trees if you have trees around you. Beautiful. So now we're going to shift our attention over to the birds, if you have any in your yard this morning, and just inviting you to watch one at a time, if you can, and follow it as it moves through the trees or the shrubs. Just watch how it moves, in particular, we're watching how the birds move downward. So some birds move upward and some birds will move downward. And so we're going to be focusing on the ones moving downward. So if you have a choice between two birds, go for the one that's moving downward and just watch how it moves. See if there's any connection or association that you can make with the movement of that bird and anything you might have seen already in your landscape. Hey, Gabrielle. So what we're doing right now is just focusing on how the birds are moving from tree to tree or shrub to shrub, and if there's any association that you can make with them and say a leaf or a butterfly or an acorn, just noticing the different ways the birds are moving downward from tree to tree or shrub to shrub. And if there's no birds, then again, all of you can just focus on if you do see anything moving like a butterfly or a leaf falling, and just really become familiar with them. So take this opportunity to get to know how things are falling and dropping in your area. If you've been looking at one particular part of your landscape, you can shift your attention slightly somewhere else, maybe a place you don't quite expect to see so much movement, but maybe you'll be surprised. You're all doing great. So we'll stay in silence for the next couple of minutes for the end of our toward the end of our practice, and just really let yourself sink in. You can even start to play a game with yourself if you want to, where you can see how quickly you can tell yourself what something is. So if you see motion, see how quickly you can discern whether or not it's a leaf or a butterfly or a stick or a bird, right? Okay, good work. So take the next moment or two to offer your own blessing or gratitude to the ones that you connected with this morning. A blessing is a great practice to get into, especially when I think as humans, we worry about things a lot. We worry about nature and worry about the birds. And so instead of sending that energy off to the natural world and to the birds, like worrying, like, oh, I'm worried about them in migration or I'm worried about them during the storm, send them a blessing, give them strength and encouragement. Let them know how grand they are. Remind them. I don't think they necessarily need our reminders, but it's a lot better than the worry that we can often send out to them. Oh, there's wood storks circling over my house right now. This is awesome, Della. Yeah, there's a nice little flock of these beautiful giant wood storks that are circling. Every once in a while, there's like a shadow that goes over. You can see it, and it's one of them. So would love to hear from folks. So I just wanted to say too that this is a really good practice, especially for all of you regulars, who've been coming to this for a long time now. And the more and more you practice owl eyes and listening deeply in the way that we are, um, we get really good at picking up subtle motions, right? Which can be really crazy making. So it's like our skills are actually improving and getting better, right? We're picking up the subtle motions without much effort. But at the same time, it's like for every leaf that falls and every butterfly that goes by, you know, it's just like, I don't know, a distracted puppy or something like that. We're just like, where a cat? I think of a cat actually, like this. What do you focus on? And so this is a really beautiful and just simple practice to get into. Anyway, I'm curious to hear what your experience was because I find this really fun. So I'm curious what came up for everybody else. So who would like to share? Just put your hand up if you want to share something. Yeah, Cheryl, then Jackie, and then Anne.
Um, I didn't have any butterflies. I didn't have any leaves. I didn't have any pieces of wood falling. However, I had all these little flying insects, and it was amazing that I could even see them. But just because of the movement alone, that was all that it took. And I would be trying to see it as it flew beyond the branches of the tree. But then the after I had been here for a while, then the birds started coming back. And my birds don't go up or down, they just fly across and go from bush to bush, kind of at the same level. So it was just interesting. I didn't notice that aspect of it before. But I think during the day, they do more up and down and other kinds of activities. But right now, the sun has just come out here and it, I think everybody said, oh, well, maybe there's food. So that's how my day went.
Yeah, great, Cheryl. And for clarification for people, sometimes it can be really subtle. So the motion I'm encouraging you to look for is like, let's say this is a shrub. and there's a bird in there and it's moving, within the shrub. Like, how is it moving? Is it dropping down and moving like that? Is it, just sort of those subtle motions within the shrub versus like the grander motion of a bird moving in? And it's all of it, really, of course. Learning all of it's wonderful. But right now, today in particular, it's some of those more subtle motions and learning how to discern which birds move more like butterflies and which ones move more like acorns, etc. But you take whatever you want to take from it because there's so much learning that's possible in this exercise. And all right, Jacqueline, is it Jacqueline? Yeah, you're next. Go for it.
Um, so like Cheryl, I didn't have any of the stuff going on. and and usually when I come out, there's some birds here already, or I, settle down and then they show up. But I just can hear them off talking. And I was looking at movements of the flowers. And so it was like they were just having this little conversation over there, like, where are we going to go next or whatever. And then it looked like the flowers were having a little conversation too. It was sort of like that Alice in Wonderland thing. And it was just fun to see that and not to think, just to experience that. And I think that the reason the birds aren't here is because they feel my agitated energy, because I used to live in Asheville and I have friends there, and it's been just so horrifying. And I almost feel like right now my little terrace here is so beautiful. I'm looking at roses and hummingbird plants, and the beautiful leaves are changing. And I'm in Santa Fe, and it's just perfect weather. And I feel guilty about it almost, that so many people are suffering. And how do I get to be so lucky, to be in this beautiful place? But I wanted to thank you especially for what you said about putting the energy out to the birds, about worrying about them, because I do that a lot. And so that's a really nice shift. And that's what I can do with my friends and anybody who's suffering also. It's just shifted to just send out that soothing breath and wishes for peace in the midst of the storms and everything. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're absolutely welcome,
And
Jacqueline.
thanks for all of you so much. I don't get to come real often, but I knew today I had to come. I knew it would ground me and it would connect me to loving, caring people, and center me into the back into some calm. And now a bird just showed up, so I think it's working.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Jackie. So, yeah, there's a lot there. A friend of mine just told me the other day, she's this incredible mentor and healer, awesome woman. And she told me that in the 70s in California, they were having all sorts of issues with crime and whatnot. Um, and there was a study that was conducted, and they were tracking the rates of crime. And then they got this group of, like, I think it was something like 400 people, maybe 200 people together, and just to meditate on peace or pray about peace for like a weekend, I think it was. And that's all they did for the whole weekend, was they focused on peace and meditating on peace. Maybe it was a week, I don't remember. But when they tracked the rates of crime, it must have been longer than 2 days, because you can't really track rates of crime after 2 days. But anyway, maybe it was even a month, whatever it was, but it was long enough for them to get like viable numbers. And the rate of crime in that area markedly reduced during the time that they were focusing like all of their meditation on peace. And you know, believe it, don't believe it, whatever. But you know, our minds, you know, we can do a lot with our thoughts. And I know, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, thoughts and prayers, who cares, you know, but there is something to it, for those who believe that. And if nothing else, at least it brings us to a better feeling place, right? And we can be more helpful, and more clear, be more guided when we're in that better feeling place. So when we're in a place of feeling the guilt or upset or sadness, we're not as clear and connected to our own center. But when we can come back to that place of love and appreciating the beauty and all of that, then we can be guided, you know, by our inner being, I suppose you could say, or God, or whatever it is, whatever you connect with, more so than when we have all the discord in our minds and hearts, you know? So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and it certainly never hurts to just be focusing on
Right.
something,
Right. Yeah, that's a
send
beautiful thing.
something positive out into the world. At least we're not creating any harm at the
Right. Why not? Why
moment.
not? Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you so much. Was it Anne or Linda? I forget who was next. I'm not sure. Yeah, Anne, go for it.
Well, like Jacqueline and Cheryl, I haven't had anything. We had we had a hurricane. I'm in Ohio, and we have chainsaw work. We had to use the chainsaw to get my husband in the driveway Friday. Nothing like the farther south it got. So it's very quiet here. I've been inside for 2 days. You know, it's no fun to sit outside in the rain and the wind and the branches and yeah. So I was thinking, though no leaves are falling, they've all blown off, you know, whatever was loose is down. And I'm thinking the birds are much higher in the trees. I wonder if they're recovering. You know, there's no butterflies. There's no leaves falling. But I think everybody's just kind of like, whoa, what happened? Where'd my branch go? You know, I've lost the top of a tree where the grackles. Well, actually, the grackle house is still there. So, well, you know, but I think everybody's adapting to a little bit of change. So,
Yeah, I think again, like this practice, it helps us to pick up the subtleties that
Mhm.
are, on the landscape, and especially when, you know, after such a big event like the storm and big things moved and changed. And yeah, it's like, you know, all these birds have their own little roads and their steps, you know, it's like the steps to, you know, your house. And let's say that the hurricane knocked, you know, the steps are gone. Now you have to find a different way to get in your house. And so you're right, the birds do need to take some time to adapt to the new roads, the new paths that they need to travel on. And it's, interesting that you're picking up on that, Anne. Yeah,
yeah,
thanks
it's just
for sharing
it's
that.
quiet. It's just well, it's never once you stop and listen, it's
Yeah.
not quiet. You know, though the end because the moisture, we were dry, you know,
Uh-huh.
because we were almost drought kind of place, but the insects love it. The crickets are loud.
I
It's
can hear
warm.
it. Yeah.
I mean, I took walks. I didn't walk Friday because that was dangerous. But, you know, I put my raincoat on and my hat and I walked,
Yeah.
you know, and everybody likes it's a little softer.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody got a little drink.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Anne.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Who else would like to share? Anyone else want to share their experience? Yeah. Gabrielle, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry I got on late. My phone wasn't working and I was so frustrated. So I'm on my iPad and I'm glad you repeated for me what you were doing. And I had this really interesting juxtaposition of movement. I had insects in the pepper tree. I had a very active hummingbird, and then these two crows on the wire. So it was really interesting, the difference in sizes and the rate of movement. Both the insects and the hummingbirds were so quick, and the hummingbird literally fall when they go down. I never noticed that. And the crows, there were two, and one of them finally took off, and I noticed how it was just so quintessential flight. It wasn't falling. It was a beautiful motion of flight. And this weekend I was in Joshua Tree in the desert, and my sister and I were driving through the park, and she had just bought a t-shirt with a Roadrunner on it. And so we're driving, and all of a sudden this Roadrunner ran in front of our car, just ran across the way. And we both were laughing, saying, oh, this is why they're called a Roadrunner. It was really interesting, that motion that they have. So yeah, this was really interesting. I love doing sound. I've loved doing seeing, but this was different, the motions. So thank you. I also love that we have people from all parts of the country in here, whereas we didn't experience the hurricane. It was good to hear people that did. It was, thank you for that. I love Zoom for that.
Yeah, it is a beautiful thing to be connected with everyone in North America right now, and just the different stories and different experiences, for sure. Yeah, thanks, Gabrielle. And I love how you picked up on the subtle motions of the hummingbird, because so it's those kinds of things that we're doing, with this meditation practice, with the mindfulness practice, that starts to build your birding skills, right? Like there's all of the beauty that happens in a sit like this, and then there's like the practical stuff that starts to happen where you actually become a better birder, but it does happen over time, and the more you focus on these kinds of practices. And so just that simple act of you watching how that hummingbird drops is going to be something that it'll be one of those things that's in the back of your mind. And so when you see that the next time, quickly you'll be able to discern that, oh, that's a hummingbird moving, right? And so even if you say, oh, that's a leaf that's falling, like that's a good thing, because that's one thing, when you're looking for warblers, you don't have to focus on that leaf for that moment, right? Because you learn how the leaves in your yard move, right? And of course it's going to be different on different days and whatever, but yeah, good work. Nice job, Gabrielle. Anyone else want to share their experience right now this morning? While we're waiting for, yeah, oh, Joy, go for it.
I just want to say thank you for this, because it's absolutely perfect for today. I was at my sit spot yesterday and it was quite windy and there were leaves falling, and I was doing exactly that. And of course I want to see birds and I was having quite a time with it. So this is perfect. And today it's calm, so I didn't have the leaves falling, but I'm going to have to go and practice this quite a bit so that I can get better at it. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're welcome, Joy. Yes, of course. You're welcome. Thank you. I wanted to let folks know, I think everyone here so far has now received the invitation for the winter bird retreat. Is there still anyone who has not received your invitation for the winter birding retreat? Okay, good. Everyone's got. Oh yeah, Jackie. So if you wanted to stay on at the very end, Jacqueline, then I want to make sure I get your proper email address, because that's one thing with the people on the bird sit. Sometimes I just have your first name and not your last name. So I want to make sure I actually can send you the invitation. And then everyone else also should have gotten the latest update about the bird photography class. So if you're someone who has a DSLR camera, I just sent off a coupon for people if that's something that is, if that makes a big difference for you, having it be a little bit of a lower price. We're going to have a 4-week class where I help people really learn to become better bird photographers and get more comfortable with your camera and all of its features. Because a lot of people who get the fancy cameras, they are scared to use anything other than the auto features, right? And so I'm going to help you get more comfortable with those. We're going to have great assignments to practice all of it. And anyway, I think it's going to be a great class. I've been doing some work already with one of your fellow students here, and she's progressing rapidly. It's really great to see. And so that was one thing, we were kind of testing it out with her. And because it's going so well, we decided to open it up to other folks. Yeah, so anyway, I just want to give you some updates about the classes. I'm closing registration on both of those on Friday. So you've got a couple more days to register if you want to. And anyone else want to share before we go? Any last shares? Yeah, Susie, please.
Oh, I did have some leaves falling. First you said butterflies. I didn't have any butterflies, so I was watching a leaf, and then the next thing you say, look for leaves. And so what I noticed was it depends on which, how the size of the leaf. Like if they go, there was one that went zigzag like this, down, keeping going down, down. Some of them just went down. So the one that zigzagged like this, I think, well, it's the wind, it catches it on one end and then it comes up. And I started overthinking it that it doesn't work that way. So I don't know. I just started, I had never spent the time to watch one fall all the way to the ground, and that was so new to me. I just love that. I'm going to do that some more.
Isn't it just, for me, it's just like such a wonderful thing, where it's the most simple, beautiful thing. This time of year, this is time of year of letting go, right? For all of us and for the trees in so many different ways, for all sorts of beings, when the birds are molting, they're letting go of their feathers. And so yeah, it's just this beautiful time of watching that release, and how that happens for each one. And yeah, thanks, Susie, for that beautiful share. Really appreciate that. All right, y'all. Thanks for playing this week. This was a good one. I thought y'all would like it. I loved it. Keep doing it. It's just really beautiful to, if there's no birds in your yard, watch the leaves fall and get to know them. Get to become familiar with the leaves falling. Yeah, it's a good skill to have. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording. And then, Jackie, if you just want to stay after, and I'll grab your email. I'll see y'all next time.